What's My Line? Brought to you by Kellogg's. Kellogg's Cereals. The best to you each morning from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now let's all play What's My Line? And now from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, just back from the bluegrass country of Louisville, Kentucky, Miss Arlene Francis.
Thank you. And now one of the most entertaining and talented men in the theater, who has authored, co-directed, and is starring in the new Broadway hit Photo Finish, Mr. Peter Ustinov.
And now a regular panelist on To Tell the Truth, one of the most talented personalities on Broadway, and a dear friend, Phyllis Newman.
And on my left, just back from Barbados, as you'll tell by his tan, that handsome publisher, Bennett Cerf.
I want to tell you, Barbados is Lotus Land, the most wonderful island. And driving to the hotel from the airport, my driver, who went at about 70 miles an hour, said, we love John Charles Daly. He talks beautifully, but we don't understand a word he says. And I said, don't worry, you have nothing on the panel. And here he is, that manipulator of words, John Charles Daly.
Well, I must say that's a rum business. Bennett back from Barbados. Well, that didn't do well, did it? I'm sorry that Dorothy Kilgallen is not with us again tonight, but it's very nice to have you with us, Miss Newman.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy yourself. And needless to say, Peter, it's always a joy to see you on the panel. We have some very interesting occupations for you. We will also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the program. And we'll meet our first challenger after. And now to meet our first challenger. Will you enter and sign in, please? Carolyn Hayward, right? All right. Is it Miss or Mrs.? Miss Hayward, and where are you from?
Toronto, Canada.
From Toronto, Canada. Nice to have you with us. Always nice to have a neighbor from the north join us. May I present our panel? Would you join me over here now, please? Do you know how we keep score, Miss Hayward?
Yes.
Fine. In that event, we'll let the audience at home and the audience in the theater know exactly what your line is. Panel, we can tell you that Miss Hayward is self-employed, deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
Miss Hayward, I presume, I take it for granted you're not related to the famous theatrical producer Leland Hayward. Is that correct?
No.
Do you perform the service that you are representing here tonight in Toronto?
No.
In Canada? I mean, in...
No.
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
I feel there's something lively about what you do, Mrs. Hayward. Is it lively?
It sure is.
Do you find yourself in quite a lot of action in your job?
Yes.
Is there a lot of movement attached to your job?
Sometimes.
Is the movement of your own making?
Well, I would say that Miss Hayward probably would be most pleased if she could decide that a good deal of the movement was of her making, wouldn't you?
Is there, is what you do, your service, is it good for both men and women?
Yes.
Well, to the degree that men or women would avail themselves of the service, we would assume that it would be good for them, yes.
When they are availing themselves of your service, would they, too, be in a kind of movement?
No.
They're stationary.
No. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Ustinov.
But is this a kind of service which is more frequently done by men than by women?
Yes.
Yes. Is there something athletic or fast-moving in the sense of do you need very quick judgment?
Yes.
Has it any connection with anything mechanical?
No, I don't think so. We couldn't say so. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Newman.
Do you shake a lot when you... No, you don't shake even a little bit.
Don't shake a lot, no. 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Hayward, when you are performing your service, are the people on whom you're performing it sometimes in a horizontal position rather than a vertical one?
We would have to give you a no answer, and there's a presumption in there, too, that is not necessarily valid.
I presume because Miss Hayward said that they didn't jump around while they were performing this, while this was going on, so I thought they might be recumbent.
No, that's true. I just say, no, there is a presumption also in the question, which is not necessarily valid. 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Francis.
Would Miss Hayward, would you be watched when you are doing whatever it is that you do?
That's right.
You are observed by people.
That's right.
You are, in a way, a performer.
That's right.
I may rule out that you are a twister.
Yes.
Do you perform on a stage?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Ustinov.
Is there any danger involved in what you do?
Yes.
Do you work in a circus?
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Miss Newman.
Do you perform in some medium? I mean, like the television medium? Ever? Have you ever?
Well, I would say it is not impossible that Miss Hayward might.
She's doing it now.
But you mean with a degree of regularity?
Yes. No.
Well, you got that out before I flipped the card, so you go ahead, Miss Phyllis.
Now, tell me something. Would I pay an admission to come and see you do what you do? I hope so. I would. And are there other people involved in what you do? I don't mean with you at the same moment, but on the bill? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you have some special training for what you do?
Yes.
Do you use any props? Do you pick up anything in your hands or use anything?
Yes.
You do. Is what you pick up something that you then lift up?
No.
You don't lift it or do anything?
Well, when you said lift up, we assume you mean lift up above the head?
Well, just sort of pick it up and go, hi, folks, I don't know.
Well, we will agree that what you have described as a prop is picked up and is used, if that's what you have in mind.
Do you show it to the people who are watching you?
Well,
They can see it.
Do you talk at all while you show this thing?
No.
No.
No. 8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Hayward, would the thing that you're involved in be in any way described as some form of athletic activity?
yes.
Is it a sport?
Well,
There is argument as to whether it could be so described, but I think it's one of those areas that's very gray.
And if it's not, then it's not a game. It's not a game or a contest.
Well,
But it would be a sport if there was a contest involved.
well, there is a contest involved, so we have to give you a no. 9 down and 1 to go, Miss Francis.
Then what you do is sometimes competitive.
Well, there's an element, let's say there's a very substantial element of competition, yes.
Do you wear something somewhat less than a dress when you do this job?
You mean in terms of covering the person?
Yes.
That would have to give you a no on that, right, Miss Hayward? Mm-hmm. Miss Hayward is a bullfighter. Yeah, wonderful. Miss Hayward just said she thought you'd guess it, but you didn't. You puzzled the
I've read
panel.
about her, that's true.
Yes, you have it, but actually you do most of your fighting in South America.
in South America and Mexico.
South America. How long have you been doing?
For 4.5 years,
How did you get started on it?
when I was in Spain. studying Spanish.
You went to Spain to study Spanish and learn to fight bulls.
That's right.
Wow. That's taking up... I guess you've learned a lot of Spanish, too, haven't you? Well,
Yes.
congratulations. It's a very interesting occupation, and congratulations on puzzling our panel.
Thank you
Good
very
luck.
much.
Now to meet another contestant, will you enter and sign in, please? Myron Pomerantz, right, sir? Where are you from, Mr. Pomerantz?
I'm from Great Neck, Long Island.
Great Neck, Long Island. Well,
That's right.
that makes you neighbor. We've got lots of neighbors here, too.
Yes, sir.
May I present the panel? Pomerantz, you join me over here. You know how to keep score?
Yes, I do.
Fine. We'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, Mr. Pomerantz is self-employed and he deals in a product, and we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Mr. Pomerantz, is it a product that I might use?
Yes.
Is it a useful product?
Yes.
Is it a product that would be found in the home?
Yes.
Is it a product that is consumed?
You mean to the degree of
Does it
being...
use itself up?
It's used up, yes.
Does almost every house have one of these products?
Mr. Pomerantz and I would like to think so.
Is it a product that has any moving parts?
No. 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Ustinov.
Is it easy to deliver these things?
Is it easy to deliver them?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
It is. A normal person could carry 2 or 3 of them, could he?
Yes.
And perhaps quite a few more.
Yes.
Am I right in assuming that they're small things?
Yes.
But his own.
It's self-employed, and do you manufacture these things?
Yes.
They're manufactured.
Yes, they are.
Are they made of metal?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Newman.
Mr. Pomerantz, are they in a container of any kind?
Yes, they are.
Is it something that if you deliver to the house, it would be kept in the downstairs part of the house?
Let me say that this would depend pretty much on the organization of the house. It is not impossible. It is not impossible that the product might be found on the downstairs part of the house.
Would it be mainly in some sort of a bedroom?
It might be, yes.
If you woke up in the morning, would you see it? Staring you in the face?
Well, I think we would not say it was there staring you in the face when you woke up in the morning. 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Pomerantz, is this product ever worn or carried about on the person during the course of the day?
You were speaking here particularly of being worn in the sense of wearing apparel or wearing ornaments or something?
Is it the sort of thing that one would carry about with him or her in the course of the day rather than leaving it at home?
It could.
Yes.
If it was carried about, could it be put in the pocket?
It could.
Would it be used in business in any way if it were carried?
You mean as an actual part of the transaction of business?
No, just in the course of doing your day's business, would you be apt to use this product?
I think that's wonderful. I wish you were back in Barbados.
I do too.
Well, I don't think that it is necessarily germane to the conduct of business. We will not deny that it might not be used in the normal business day, but it's not germane, Bennett, so I'm going to give you a no. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Could you buy it in a department store?
Yes, you could.
Would it be bought at a notions counter?
It could be.
If you had a notion.
Is it made of a kind of cloth or fiber if it isn't made of metal?
Yes.
Is it used in association with something else?
Yes.
Is it, does it come in a variety of colors or sizes?
It can, yes.
is it... How am I doing?
You're doing... You're doing splendidly.
Would it ever be put on a desk?
Yes.
Could be.
When you use it in association with something else, do you put it into something rather than on something?
Yes.
I wish you were back in Louisville. Well, let's say that in the utilization of the product, it is not unlikely that you might put it into something, and nor is it unlikely that you would put it on something.
Does it do something to something else?
Does it do something to something else? Is
I
that
like
your
to think
question?
everybody
Yes.
does. No. What? Yes? Oh. Then, would I, as I sit here, do you think I have some of this on me someplace? In some way?
No, wait a minute.
Would you have to search me?
Now, your question is, do we feel that you have Mr. Pomerantz's product on you someplace? That's your question?
Yes, if it's falsies,
Good.
I'm in big trouble.
That's $5, 5 to go, Mr.
I haven't got
Ustinov. You haven't got it.
Would it be more likely to be found in the house of a married couple than of a bachelor?
Yes.
Shall I go ahead?
Yes.
Is it something to do with the possible offspring of such a married couple?
No, not necessarily so. 6 down and 3 to
Not
go, Mr.
necessarily,
Newman.
sir.
Oh, I was completely on the wrong track then. Is it mostly white?
Well, I would say this, and I think Mr. Pomerantz would agree, that it very often is white.
It can be.
Could Peter Ustinov have it on?
Well, you know, I think we've been on this long enough. I know I have, anyway. I'm going to tip all the
John,
curtain.
there's one question I could ask. If it's more likely to be found in a married couple's house than a bachelor's, we're presuming then it's something that women use more than men.
Right.
We never got onto that.
We never got onto that because it would have led you, I think, to it much more quickly because, you see, Mr. Pomerantz makes powder puffs. I think your family's concerned, is it?
That's right.
Victoria Vogue, Incorporated, and they make powder puffs, all shapes, sizes, and colors. None out of metal, however, Mr.
Should have gotten that.
Yeah, I must say I'm surprised we took you as far as we did that, and thank you for puzzling the panel. Nice to have you with us, sir. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our sponsor. But now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which the panel is always blindfolded. Are those blindfolds in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Would you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of the mystery challenger, one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Miss Newman.
Thank you. Are you in the entertainment industry?
Yeah.
Mr. Cerf.
Are you at present appearing in New York either in a show, a movie, or some nightclub or hotel act?
Nah.
What? I didn't get the answer.
Nah.
No.
Just a moment. We have to have a small conference. Okay. Miss Francis?
Are you primarily known for your work in pictures?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Ustinov?
Now, let me get this straight.
But there's no picture running at the moment. Is that what I understood?
Of our mystery guest.
Of our mystery guest.
Well, actually, here what we have a little problem, and
That's
I think
what I was wondering.
the best thing for me to put it down with is that we're hung up on the first run basis. This is not to say a picture is not running.
Oh, I see.
You're a man.
I didn't hear the answer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
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 Miss Newman?
Everybody screams. Are you a heartthrob type? A leading man type? I guess he is.
I think the audience has answered that for you. Yes. Mr. Cerf?
Have you ever played in a picture with Doris Day?
Nah.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Have you made many pictures in Europe?
Yeah.
Mr. Ustinov?
Do you happen to have the same name as anybody on the panel?
Nah.
No. 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Newman.
Have you been in the movies longer than 10 years?
No.
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Were you on the Broadway stage before you went to the movies?
Yeah.
Miss Francis?
Are you one of the new cult of leading men? I mean that in the nicest possible way. I mean, are you more juvenile than you are leading man, you know, sort of set?
Yeah.
Mr. Ustinov?
How many we got left?
7.
More juvenile than leading man? What? No, that doesn't sound possible with that voice.
He's an old juvenile.
An old juvenile. Lolito. Oh, my goodness. I just don't know what to ask him. I can hardly hear the answers. Have you appeared in European pictures in the very recent past?
Yeah.
Miss Newman?
Do you have a picture that's going to open soon, within the next month or so?
Yeah.
You do?
Mr. Cerf?
No.
Mr. Cerf?
Are you an American?
Yeah.
Miss Francis?
Do you sing as well as act?
Some people say so.
Oh, I got it then.
Who is it?
Tony Perkins?
Yes! You opened soon in the trial, Franz Kafka's The Trial, made with Orson Welles.
Yes.
I knew in the old days and haven't seen for many moons. I trust he's doing fine.
Yes, he's doing very well. The picture opens the day after tomorrow.
Ah, that's great. That's great. It'll be most interesting to see because all of us, particularly electronic journalism, we're a bit older than you are. Remember something that Orson did, was it 1928, I guess? Bennett, was it?
Citizen Kane?
No, I was thinking of the man from Mars.
The Martian
Oh,
broadcast.
yes.
Martian
I was
broadcast.
in that.
But the trial, this is the Kafka.
Yes,
Kafka, The Trial.
Very
yes,
unusual
of course,
material for a picture.
very unusual.
And I tripped up, Bennett, because I thought Phaedra was now in the first run, but it isn't. I'm not as correct about the terminologies as I should be. And 5 Miles to Midnight is still another movie that Tony is one of the busiest men that ever came. That with Sophie Loren. So that's
And
great.
Phaedra?
Yeah, and Phaedra. He's a busy man. And thanks very much for being our guest on What's My Line. That's lovely. Panel, I think we gave you something of a rough time of it tonight, and we'll be back after this word from our alternate sponsor. And on happy note, good night, Miss Francis.
Good night, dear John. Good night, Dorothy. Good night, and I look forward to seeing photo finish, Peter.
Well, thank you. Good night. Good night.
Good night, Peter. Good night, Bennett.
Awfully nice to be back home. Good night, John.
Good night, Bennett, and also good night, Dorothy, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS Television Network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Codman. Johnny Olsen speaking.